During this week, we are going to talk about another skill that is necessary when we're talking about fluency, and it's hearing punctuation. As you can see, we are going to talk about that, how to pronounce correctly using punctuation marks. What is punctuation? This is the first thing that we have to define. Is the system of signs or symbols given to a reader to show a sentence, how a sentence is constructed, and how it should be read. For example, it is like the guidance that we have. Punctuation marks are there because of a reason. You have to follow them and we have to respect them in order to read the paragraph or the passage correctly. Fluency instruction includes more than reading rate and expression. Yes, fluency is more than that. Yes, we have to learn how to do it fast, but we have to respect punctuation mark also. Weak readers tend to read right through punctuation marks, never stopping, pausing, or taking breath. This makes for a very confusing reading. So when we are not used to do respect punctuation, we become weak readers, and we don't pause, we don't stop, and we do it fast but incorrectly. So the first thing we have to learn is how to differentiate the different punctuation marks and how to give the intonation and volume depending on how punctuation is written in a passage. The author chooses to place a punctuation mark in that particular position because of a reason. They put apostrophes or commas, period, because of something. They want to convey a message, and we have to respect them as a reader. There are some punctuation considerations that we're going to take. The first is reader's voice and fluency are affected when sentences end with different punctuation marks. That's the first thing. Remember that punctuations give you a guidance that you need to follow, and your voice and fluency is going to change depending where it's placed, that punctuation mark. Students understand that punctuation is for the reader, not for the writer. Yeah, the writer wrote the passage, yes, but it's for you as a reader. When you encounter a punctuation mark, you need to pause. You need to remember how you're going to read that passage with that punctuation mark. Punctuation tells the reader where to pause, breathe, raise voice, change voice, and they are powerful, and you don't have to ignore them. If you ignore them, you're going to become a weak reader. That's why you need to learn how to use them in order to breathe, raise your voice, pause, and give expression when you are reading. And they are placed depending of something that they want to convey. Commas, apostrophes, and other marks affect the message. If we don't have any punctuation marks in a reading, you are not going to express them with the correct way. You're just going to read like if you were a robot. So this is the chart that explains how to use your voice depending on the mark that we have. Period stops. You need to stop, not abruptly, but you have to stop. For example, basketball is a contact sport, and you have to do like a pause or 2 or 3 seconds. The question mark, your voice goes up. What is your favorite food? That's the way you have to do it, like this. You have to raise your voice when you encounter this. The exclamation mark gets loud. It's like with expression, with surprise, or any other emotion. For example, she's coming. Help! Help me, please. So you have to do it with your voice loud in expression. Comma is pauses, like not like an entire pause, but a short pause of 1 second. For example, Kevin collects stamps, basketball cards, and comic books. In that way you have to do it. The quotation mark sounds like the character, so you have to become the character in that moment. So quotation marks is when you are taking the exact words that the character is saying, so you have to become the character and express like the way he or she is saying the thing. Don't dilly day all day, say the old woman. So you have to sound like the character. Those are the 3 periods or ellipses. Drift off. For example, you have to take like a breath and give suspension to what you are saying. I can't believe. Did I really win? So you do like those pauses. This is like dash, stops abruptly, then reads remaining the text quickly. So you have to make a stop and then fast. For example, this heat, 108 degrees, is unbearable. So in this way, you have to stop and then continue reading fast and then stop. Then those are those other type of punctuation mark that we have, the parentheses, to whisper to the reader, like you are saying the things like you are whispering to the ear of the person. For example, the water playground, also known as the tire sweeping playground, is on the east street, so you have to lower your voice and talk to the person like if you are talking to the ear of the person. So italics, boldface, underline, and caps stress or emphasize these words. When you are looking at words like has those four characteristics or any of those characteristics, you have to stress the word, give more intonation. For example, you ate that? Gasper Yo. Ouch! I've been studying by a bee. The ball goes in the hoop and not over it. So in this way you have to do it. Give a stress or emphasis to that. So these are punctuation marks and the way you have to use your voice. But let's take a look to how to develop this skill during the reading. This is a short extract of one of the works of Oscar Wilde. The name is The Nightingale and the Rose. How you're going to apply it when you are facing this paragraph? The first thing is you have to underline or circle all the punctuation marks that you have. As you can see, I have many here, and that way you are going to start respecting them during the reading. So I'm going to read and I'm going to tell you how to do it according to the punctuation mark and the voice that you have to put depending on them. For example, she promised she'd dance with me if I bought her a red rose, cried a young heartbroken student. But there is no one in this whole garden. From her nest in the oak tree, the nightingale heard him, and she looked out through the leaves and wondered. Not a single red rose anywhere, he cried, and his eyes filled with the tears. It's amazing how happiness depends on such little things. I read all the wise men have written, and all the secrets of philosophy, but my life is wretched because of a red rose. Here at last is a true romantic, said the nightingale. Night after night I have sung of him, thought I didn't realize it. Night after night I have told his story to the stars, and now I see him. So in this way you have to pronounce it depending of the punctuation mark. And you have to remember how to use your voice, to increase, to lower your voice, or to emphasize depending on the punctuation, depending the period, commas, quotation marks, or everything that you face when you have a passage.